Oh, actually, then I can.
Hello and welcome to Crypto Interviews. My name is Claudio and this is Cryptoshine, the channel where I do crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews. And joining me today is the CEO of LBRY. That's right, the decentralized video platform where all the crypto influencers now want to go to. A lot of the bigger ones are now crypto with a zero, who's been in the YouTube space for a very long time. He's been talking about crypto since like 2016 in the early days. He's moved to LBRY. He's posting regular content. There are other people like Rise Crypto too. But it's really interesting because today we're going to find out more about LBRY, not only for influencers, but also for viewers like you. For example, if you're interested to find out how you can earn cryptocurrency by simply viewing content creators, then you're going to find that out today. So stay tuned for that. But we've got Jeremy here joining us. So Jeremy, please introduce yourself. Please talk to us. Tell us about LBRY. Tell us about yourself. How is life?
Hey, LBRY is doing very well. Times are a little unfortunate right now for a lot of people, but and including for crypto and blockchain YouTubers and creators, and we'll get into that. But LBRY has been doing really well, and LBRY is, I think, at this point, really established itself as the safest place to keep your content if you're a content creator who's worried about YouTube, and also the best place to watch content if you're, if you'd rather be able to, the way that I like to put it is if you'd rather make choices for yourself, right? A lot of these sites are basically saying that, hey, we're going to decide for you now whether it's okay for you to watch this, and LBRY and the people using it, I think, don't really like that idea.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And actually, I want to get to that question. So what actually made you create LBRY in the first place? What was the trigger, and what did you do before that?
Yeah, I will. I'll answer both of those. Also, I'll say, but presumably this can be watched on LBRY right now. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll get the LBRY link in there, and people. This could be a tool for people to hop over and try watching this.
Check the pinned comment, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah. And so, but why did I create LBRY? It's a very good question. So, your audience, you understand Bitcoin and what's important about it and what's significant about it, right? And like what's so powerful about it is it's this system that has certain properties, money, that's not owned by anyone, that's not controlled by anyone. We took something that, no one, I mean, to an extent, I guess, like a government controls a cash system, but like if you have, maybe something like gold, like there's no one place to control it. We had that in physical space. Now we have this in digital space, right? But the thing is, what a blockchain ultimately is, technologically, it's a database. It's a spreadsheet. We can use it to do other things. And we tailored the LBRY blockchain and built some other things along the way, specifically for this use case of YouTube, right? Like we want to, and also things like Amazon paid content purchases. So a little bit actually bigger than just YouTube. LBRY is actually trying to address a very large market of digital content sales. It's a $2 trillion a year market is how much is spent on this stuff. And we think by building this kind of Web 3.0 blockchain-based protocol, we can actually outcompete not just YouTube, but services like Amazon. And so that's why we created it. Yeah.
How big is the team, by the way, over at LBRY?
Fairly small. And we're regularly rated one of the most productive teams in blockchain by third-party places like Flipside Crypto. Like you can look at the ratings on CoinMarketCap in terms of our productivity. And we have 8 engineers and a total staff of a dozen people right now.
It sounds good. And you've also got a mobile application. I've recently downloaded that because I personally created my LBRY account on the 1st of January, 2020, actually. So I started uploading on there, but I didn't know you had a mobile application. So like recently I've checked more details into LBRY. I've looked more in depth into it, and I saw you have that. So I did download it. It is really
excellent. Well, welcome to the platform. It's actually fitting that you bring up Android because just today, so very timely, we announced a native rewrite. So the Android app, there's a fully functioning Android app. You can get it right now. But truthfully, it has been a little bit slow. It's had some performance issues. It hangs a little bit, particularly on older devices, but truthfully on a lot of them sometimes. And so we just released a native rewrite. It's only in It's just going into beta, so you have to like opt into it in the store if you want to get this latest one. But it just came out. We love people who give us feedback, especially on early releases. We tip you and things like that if you can give us some good, even if you're just like, hey, it worked for me and I liked it. We love it when people try stuff out and give us feedback. Everything we do actually is a very community-driven project in terms of what LBRY is. So the team is small, the core team, the paid team, but the overall team is very large. We have a chat with a couple thousand people in it. There are hundreds of people who contribute code every year. So it's a really big project, building what we're trying to build. And there's really a large amount of people who are interested in building it and working on building it.
Yeah, definitely. And as a developer myself, I do understand the small risks that could happen when you're deploying a new product, because it's almost like impossible to test on every single device. So there's always going to be that edge case, that special internet connection that somebody's having that you haven't tested on. So, you're going to find these kind of bugs, which will get fixed as long as people report them. So that is great that you guys are actually taking that as feedback.
Exactly. And that's our, if you're with us for even a little bit of time, you'll see that we are like a release early and often company, and sometimes we'll be clear, hey, this is a beta. Hey, this is a little bit raw, hey, this is an early version of this. But it's so much more valuable to get it out there and to get that feedback. And both in terms of finding bugs, it also refines your ideas. The idea you have of something in terms of what do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Even in that space, not even necessarily through explicit feedback, someone saying this broke for me, just watching how someone uses something changes the way that you want to build it. And as you can probably tell from me giving this answer, I care a lot about what we build.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, it's all about the how the user feels, isn't it? Like if the user feels comfortable using the product, then they're going to continue using it. If they're finding it too difficult to use, then they're going to struggle and they're going to look somewhere else, because that's usually what happens in life in general with products. But thank you for that. Let's move on and talk a little bit about the rewards for the viewers, because a lot of people watching are not actually content creators, so they're viewers themselves. So we know that LBRY has some of the great rewards out there when it comes to cryptocurrencies, more exactly the LBC token, LBRY credits. But how does it actually work? If you could please explain, apart from people watching, how does it work in total? Like, what is the total supply? I know that it says on CoinMarketCap that it's 1 billion, but then that's like the max supply. And then there's the total supply, which is like 668.3 million. Which wasn't very clear to me. So what I think personally, and I'd like you to explain it, is that these rewards are generated from that total max supply and they get added onto the total supply. Is this right, or how does it actually work?
Not quite. So I'll go through, I guess, the high level overview of the allocation of the tokens, and then we can talk about the rewards specifically, and also so you've got the concept of block rewards, but that's not the rewards we're talking about here, right? Yeah. I don't think you mean the in-app, like LBRY TV
in-app rewards. Yeah.
So, okay, so it's like this. First, LBRY is a proof of work blockchain, okay? And there will ultimately be a little over 1 billion tokens, okay? There was a 400 million token pre-mine that the company used it's used some of them to raise money for the company. It uses, it's allocated 200 million of them for growth of the protocol itself. And from this fund, this is how we fund the view rewards and fund user participation and some other things. Yeah. We're very transparent in terms of how we use all this. You can actually go to LBRY.com/credit reports, and you can see quarterly spreadsheets and written documents going back 3.5, almost 4 years. So LBRY is I guess an old blockchain project at this point. We did no ICO, and we've been very transparent the entire time in terms of how we've used the tokens. We've retained a very large portion of our share, a pretty decent portion of our share as well. Again, because we have faith in this, right? Like we weren't looking to do some kind of cash out or cash and grab. We want to build this and make it work. So that's all very transparent. So we've used about 80 million of that 400 million this far. So those are now actively traded on the markets or used by users or whatever. There's also approximately another, I guess based off the numbers you gave, I wasn't sure the exact number off the top of my head, but basically the remainder of the supply So whatever you figure that had, whatever figure you said as what was liquid less 320 is what's been, sorry, whatever figure you said less 400 has been mined,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So what was that number that you had? You have it at your hand, at your fingertips?
So do you mean the total supply that we see,
Yeah.
668.3 million? That's what has been mined so far, right?
One more time. I missed the number.
668.3 million.
668. Yeah. So that would mean that, no, that would mean that 668 minus 320, 328 million has been mined.
Yeah.
And the remaining
Which is the circulating supply that we see on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, the circulating supply less 320 is what's been mined, basically.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And then so to answer to come back to the rewards for users, because I think this is actually what's like most important. Look, you can and we're transparent about this stuff. So if you want to find the supporting materials, you can find them. We've been very prudent with how we've used the token. You know, we're very much in this to build a lasting protocol that becomes a foundational part of the internet. That's what we see as our mission. But the rewards for users, you can create an account on LBRY.tv, or even better, download the desktop app, LBRY.com/get. Then you'll be participating directly in the data network with other peers. But also just LBRY.tv is a very easy way to get started. You can use it on the web. Create an account. You'll earn rewards for doing various things, including you get a reward for just watching something once a day. It's a random reward. Anywhere from 1 to 100 LBC. You get that every day just for watching something. I'm not here to promise like some like glorious, amazing thing where you're going to make like $5 a day. Like, you know, it's not realistic, right? It's more like, hey, you know, rather than watching on YouTube, come try YouTube, come try this alternative out and earn the equivalent of maybe, you know, 10 cents a day. Right? Or something like this.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
it could end up being $5 a day in the future if they keep the coins.
Well, I don't want to promise anything like that.
That's only like speculation, basically.
Yeah, just to clarify how we think about it. Like we think what we've built is a pretty good user experience, and when you factor in the fact that you have more control, we think it's a completely better user experience. But we don't think. Well, no, the truth is we don't think it's completely better. We think it's overall better. There are areas where we're not as good as YouTube yet, where we're still working to get better. And we see the token as something that can like cover that user experience gap. It's also covering, as we're still building out the ad network and advertising, although there is some of that on LBRY.tv now. But there's no free money in the world, right? And this is something you should generally be skeptical of with all of these platforms. Like if this platform is like, okay, we're going to pay the viewer and we're going to pay the creator, well, where's the money come from? Okay, like there's no magic, right? And a lot of these places seem to want to promise that there's going to be magic, and so I don't want to be on here promising magic. I actually don't. If someone's coming on like just for the money, I don't want you to come on. I want you to come on because you think that like it would be better if we maybe you can come on if you come on and you like the money and you're like not a jerk. I'm still happy you came on because I want people to use it, and I'll make you like it in time. I'll make you happy you did it. I'll make you glad you did it for reasons other than the money in time.
Yeah.
But like really, we want people like who think that who just think it's who are frustrated with YouTube, who are frustrated with these other services in some way, who like the idea of being in control, who like the idea of a library of digital content that's not owned by some like stupidly large corporation that spies on us and exploits us in all kinds of ways, and then wants to play like nanny to us at the same time. It's ridiculous. All right, so I'll stop ranting. But
I would say LBRY, like how do you see LBRY? I mean, I don't personally see LBRY 100% decentralized because
there
is some centralized aspect to it, right?
Especially because LBRY.tv has been growing so fast. I mean, it is, I think, more decentralized than basically any of these other blockchain digital content type approaches. We've made more progress on the decentralization of discovery. Like all the discovery features are basically decentralized. You've got, you can use the desktop app. There are tens of thousands of nodes operating in that network, in that peer-to-peer network, for the data, hosting it separately from us as a company. But we need to get more LBRY.tv instances up. I think we need to decentralize. I think some of the I guess like effectively like legal organizational side more. Like I want to decentralize more there, and we actually have set up a separate foundation now which is going to be run by some community members. You can read about that at LBRY.org. They're also taking over our chats, like our chat rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, look, there's definitely more to be done. It's literally on our roadmap, so it's not a secret that we think we have to make some progress in some of these areas. But we think we're farther ahead than anyone. We think the user experience is farther ahead than anyone. The content's better than anyone, and we're going to keep building.
No, definitely. That's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm seeing the progress so far. It has improved. But I do gotta ask, how do you guys actually get the revenue from? Where is the main source of revenue if LBRY says to grow and stuff?
So, well, one, we do think there is substantial revenue just from the token. That is something that we created that represents money, right? And we've already, we actually have funded the company thus far, largely through the token. Although we have raised funds, we have raised venture capital funds as well. And so that to me is a way that the company will be able to make money. We also do see us as being a common, possibly the most common provider for a number of services that you ultimately need that aren't necessarily only performed by us, but everyone will need and represent a profit potential. So that could be things like the web app. Like people probably will want web apps. Like, I'm all for the desktop app, and we started as a desktop app company, but people are going to want web apps, and web apps aren't going to be decentralized to the same level that a peer-to-peer desktop app is. And so that means that you might be able to make money off of providing that service. If we're providing advertising services or financial services, right? Like the main hurdles, actually, we'd be doing this more already if we hadn't encountered so many hurdles of cashing people in and out. Like people want dollars and euros and other things, and we see the LBC technology as something that's useful as like the rails of this digital content marketplace. But we're not, I don't see library credits as being like how people go and buy bananas. Like that's not what we're pretending. I don't know why I said bananas, cup of coffee. That's the Bitcoin example, right? LBRY is not trying to be that. We're trying to be a technology that serves this digital content land, right? But people do need to, so people need to, if someone's making money selling their content, they need to get the thing that lets them buy the coffee. Okay. Whether that ends up being Bitcoin or dollars or any number of other things. And so we need to make that easier. We need to make that easier for people.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do have a question about the tipping system. So at the moment, it is free for viewers to get the LBC coins, and then they tipped our favorite content creators. But is there going to come a time in the near future where they're no longer going to get these rewards for free? So therefore will not be able to tip for free. They'll actually have to buy them like they do on YouTube, for example, where they buy those, where they pay with the credit card to be able to tip in the live chat.
Yeah. So in the near future, you will be able to buy them in the app in the near future.
Yeah.
They will not go away in the near future from us, but they will go away at some point. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I say they're not going away in the near future, I mean, they're going to be there a year plus. They're going to be there for 2 years. Honestly, they're going to be there for longer probably. Although I don't want to promise that.
Rewards.
I'm not even here promising
guess,
2
right?
years to be clear, but I would expect them to be. Because you can look at what we spent. This company's been in existence for 4 years. We reserved $200 million up front, saying we were going to use it to grow the community. We've spent only $50 million of it in almost 4 years. We've been prudent with it. We're not going to burn through it and spend it all in the next year. We're not even going to come close to it. We're going to, I expect to stretch that out over a long time to continue to fund things that help, LBRY be successful.
Okay. No, sounds good. So at the very least, the daily rewards are going to be there for the next year and a half or so.
Yeah, I'm not promising the levels won't change, right? We actually already tamped down the viewer rewards a little bit recently because LBC is worth more, right? Again, because we're not trying to promise magic. We're not promising, 5 LBC per view, and if LBC is worth $5, you're still going to get $5. We're not promising that.
I know what
That's
you
silly.
mean. I know what you mean. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme that people are just, unless they hodl and it happens to go, then it's a different story because they obviously have the coin since it was 5 cents, like it is now, for example. Now I do have to ask,
and I think also part of the reason I talk, it's like these people who come in and want to get rich, they're not good for your platform. They're not good for your community. A lot of these people, end up being, so yeah. In terms of like, cause they come in and then they come in with a lot of fire and then they burn out. And then, like we want people to really be with us in what we're building.
Exactly. We want people to basically watch and just contribute to the ecosystem pretty much, just like they're contributing to YouTube at the moment.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
another
And even with
alternative, especially if they support decentralization, because that's the whole point, right? And
exactly.
slowly, as more people are going to be supporting it, then hopefully more viewers and more content creators on the platform too.
Right. I mean, it takes time to build what we're taking to build. It's like, it's pretty realistically, like it's pretty massive in terms of what we think this could be. And it doesn't happen overnight. You can't leave YouTube and come somewhere else and like bring your audience with you overnight or any of these things. And so it makes way more sense. And even you'll see, this is why we do the YouTube program this way. We're developing a new tool where you'll be able to publish to LBRY through the LBRY app and then like sync it to YouTube. Like YouTube is where, there's so much like discovery and acquisition happening there. You can't just like quit it. No. So we have to build ways to like much more gracefully bring people over rather than, just being like, oh yeah, like hit that delete button. Like that's not going to work.
I'm personally thinking decentralized. So I upload on multiple platforms.
Right on. Yes.
That's the whole,
smart. Yeah. Smart choice.
Thank you. So for LBC, is it possible to hold that on a ledger, on a hardware wallet?
It is. I believe that as of just sometime this year, I can't remember, we got added to Ledger.
Oh, great stuff.
Yep.
Lots of people have those Ledger Nano S's. So
there's also obviously not a hardware wallet, although maybe they're like integrate. Now that wouldn't make sense. But there's a Koinomi as a mobile or alternative wallet if you don't want to use our apps, or if you want a lighter wallet, basically. Yeah. Because our apps come with all the content, all the stuff that around that. So if you want to manage like just the token, you can also use the Koinomi.
Yeah. No, definitely. Thank you for that. Now, to move on to talk about the algorithm. So we know how YouTube more or less works out, but how does LBRY work out in terms of the algorithm? So in terms of the trending videos, for example, how do they get recommended? Is it based on views? Is it based on watch time? Or is it based on how much they have staked? Because I know that when you're uploading content there, you can actually choose how much you want to stake. And now there's a new feature which tells you that if you stake, say 500 LBRY coins, you actually get, you kind of own the title of the full link, of the full path by word search. So if somebody's searching for that title, say for example, I don't know, top 5 coins to moon or something, if they're searching for that, then your video is going to come up because you've tipped the most. So how does that actually work in terms of the whole point, the whole system?
That's right. So there's 2 different parts to this. And so one of them, one part of it we can think of, this gets like slightly technical, but hopefully let me know if this doesn't make sense. But there's 2 systems. You've got a sort of what you call like a name resolution system, and this has hard rules. And this is what you're talking about having that top result. So LBRY is designed, and this is in fact even relates to why it's called LBRY. It's designed to be its own, what in the internet sort of space would be called a scheme. So like HTTP is a scheme. You have URL schemes. There's actually schemes for, I don't know, it would be, BitTorrent has a scheme for how you address BitTorrent content and link it. And so LBRY is designed to have a scheme. You can write LBRY://URLs. These are then intended to be opened by LBRY apps on your computer or your mobile device. And instead of using the web version, this is if you have like a full app. And so for this, we part of what we wanted to provide with the LBRY system is concise, human-friendly URLs. So LBRY://Jeremy, right? Actually my channel is KAUFFJ. I should plug my own channel while I'm here. Follow me. I'm learning to be a content creator, so I have to do things like that now to succeed, which is great. No, I'm glad. So anyway, bring it back. So the name KAUFFJ, when I go and buy that, reserve it really, buying's the wrong term. When I go and reserve it with the LBRY blockchain, I get a permanent URL that is KAUFFJ, my name, plus a random character. So it might be KAUFFJ A or B or 6. You may have seen this in video game systems where they allow multiple people to have the same handle, or Discord. Discord does this, okay? So that's how we do it. We do it just like that. That name is yours. That name is permanently yours. You can link people that you effectively own it, absent some weird philosophical debates about what ownership means in a blockchain-based database. The name KAUFFJ with no additional character, that's that top search result that you were talking about, and that is done by the staking system. And not only can you stake as a direct party, the community can stake. And part of our intention with this was to allow like this sort of consensus around, okay, there's 8 people who all want to be, who all are all CalfJ, who deserves to be like the sort of primary one. It's tough to figure out rules in a decentralized system, and this was one we came up with that we thought was the most likely to result in the best thing for people, essentially. The other part, so that was complicated. Did that make sense?
It did.
Yeah, okay.
No, it was a bit complex, but yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, and we
I
also
can always rewind anyway and just re-listen.
I'll also, if that did make sense, we have a follow-up resource, LBRY.com/back/naming.
Yeah.
It can also explain some of it. And so the other thing is other way that we use staking is we also just use staking as a weight, and this relates to how trending works. And so trending is not a core, well, I guess it's a core part of the protocol, but it's not part of the consensus protocol is what's important. So the trending algorithm is something that we can change, with any update whenever we want to. We're a bit like YouTube in that way. Yeah. We're unlike YouTube in the fact that the source code of how our trending algorithm works is open source and public. And so that one I can't link off the top of my head, but I promise you it exists and can be read. And if you email me, if you really care, and you email me, I will get you the link. And I'm Jeremy at LBRY.com. I'm very accessible. Anyway, it's public source code. And one of the inputs to trending, actually the primary input to trending, although it gets into stuff of like time factors and the amounts and who did it, is the amount staked. Because that you can't compute, so you actually can't compute views in a decentralized system. Like there's no way we could, I guess, we as a company could promise to write views to the blockchain, but that's not really decentralized. That would be that'd be a very flawed design. That's a terrible design. I would never even entertain that. So like there's no way to get it there, right? So you can't put views into your trending algorithm. We use staking that's visible. It correlates with trending, and it's also something, again, that the community can participate in. So that's how trending works. And it works basically like other trending. It works in the ways of like, well, what was the baseline performance? And is there a bunch more of it happening? Yes, there is. And you calculate I think it's like a Z-score, like some sort of standard deviation metric type thing.
Is it important for content creators to upload constantly, like every day, for example, or 2 videos per day or 5 videos per day? Is there a benefit over if I upload, for example, once a day over somebody who uploads 5 times a day, maybe?
So
sometimes I might skip a day and I might upload after 2 days. Is that like going to penalize me in a way in terms of being recommended? Or
I'm pretty sure that that's not an input to any of the algorithms. It probably, if you have a regular audience, especially if like the main reason your audience is on LBRY is to watch you, it could be good to make something, every day or near daily. But I think, LBRY is designed to leave like the users in control of how much they want to, like if someone and this is another difference from YouTube, is like, your audience on LBRY can say like, yeah, I want to see stuff from this person, and they're going to get to see it. It's not going to get hidden, by the algorithm. Yeah. How trending works can be a little bit tricky to understand if you really want to dig in, although I can assure you we're trying to get it right. It's just legitimately complicated to get it right. So not succinct to explain that. But publishing more frequently is going to bring you more of an audience. I don't think you need to publish 5 times a day. So I think you should I think it is important. I would say probably what's most important is like to be regular. Like if you establish a cadence, to keep it, because people begin to expect it, And so when you establish a cadence and then you fall off of it, you're going to lose some of your audience, and they might not come back because, you stopped matching the cadence at which they were, checking or expecting that notification.
Okay. Fair enough. No, it sounds clear. Now, what can people expect from LBRY soon? What big update do you have coming up that you can
Uh,
share? That you can share?
a
Because I know
couple
that some
big
stuff
ones, a
can be
couple
shared.
big ones, and some of these we've only hinted at. But I think people could read through the hints. So, well, one of these is very explicit. So, paid content is coming on LBRY TV. It's going to be supported on LBRY TV next week. That basically means you'll be able to sell content on LBRY TV, whatever price you want, get 100% of the price. We'll also be doing some subsidized paid content that first week of it rolling out. And also, we will be rolling out easier ways to acquire LBC for at least some portion of LBRY users. Full specifics of that aren't public yet, but they'll be being made public very soon. So especially something to be excited about and to look forward to.
Okay, no, sounds good.
Yeah.
Just one question about the paid content. I thought that was that feature already existed because you
Not on
could
LBRY.
upload and say that you want a specific fee to be paid in order for viewers to
Yes,
view.
it does
How is that
exist.
different?
It does exist. It does work. It works. So LBRY started as this fully peer-to-peer desktop app, and it all works in the desktop app, and you can do the paid content in the desktop app right now. LBRY TV was our bringing that peer-to-peer desktop experience onto the web, and some features were left out of that initial production of it.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
now paid content is finally coming as a
Okay.
feature.
Okay, I get that now. What about the mobile version? Is that going to be for a future release or?
Paid content is already supported on mobile.
Oh, it's already there. Okay,
Yep.
perfect, perfect, cool. Thank you. No, I think that we've covered everything. It's been a great interview, but I do have one final question
Yes.
before we go, and I ask this to every one of my guests. What is one thing in life that you truly desire?
Freedom, liberty. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
A very decentralized response.
I mean, it's deep in my heart. It's deep in my bones. I mean, I don't want to like get into like long stories at this point, but just, there's so many, there's so much that I think could be possible that would be good and better than what happens. And it frustrates me.
Yeah.
It frustrates me that, I don't know. That's probably a vague answer to make sense. I don't know. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, no
This is a
worries.
really great. This is a really good interview. I will also plug. So follow us on like Twitter. We're LBRY on Twitter. But really, just go use LBRY. We're also getting up. Oh, I should have mentioned this when I said things are getting up and running.
Sure. Go ahead.
I'm glad I forgot. I'm glad I didn't forget. We're getting an entire like Latin American like sort of branch of LBRY community. Up and going. So you can follow them on Twitter. They're at LBRY Latam, and you can also come into the Discord, and they've got a channel in there if you want to chat with them. And so we're trying to do more to reach that community. And so if anyone wants to be a part of that, that's another thing that's about to happen.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Yeah. And all we can hope now is that PewDiePie is going to come to LBRY, because you know what happens if he does, then the platform's is gonna blow up basically.
Yeah, we'll work on it. But you can't buy them. I know I'm ruining the end of this by continuing to bring things up. You can't buy PewDiePie, right? Like, I mean, you can. I'm sorry, you can, but you can't. It doesn't make them actually like it. Like, DLive bought PewDiePie, and now he's back on YouTube. Like, and it shows why it's a mistake to just like try to solve the problems by throwing money at them. You have to solve the problems by like making the solution genuinely better. Or you don't get anywhere, and you're believing a falsehood if you just think you can solve it by just throwing money at them.
Yeah, no, very true. It's like trying to buy somebody basically. So
yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. You've been very good. Thank you for answering all the questions. I hope the viewer will enjoy this interview too. And again, in the pinned comment, you can find the link to LBRY. Do check it out, and then you can find all the different information there. In the help section too. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.